to remember that we're all individuals, we're all different, and
everybody's different.
no two person is the same ever. And the person you are today, tomorrow when you wake up, you're not the same person.
Exactly.
Or you're a different person.
Exactly.
And change it, you know. So and what I mean by saying that is that you've learned different lessons the day before.
True.
You've restructured your priorities depending on what happened. You are, you know, you're marching in a different beat. You're thinking differently now. You're feeling, I mean, you're not the same person. You're different. You change everything. You know, somebody said the other day, you know, actually I saw this little quote. I really like it, but it always says that, you know, when they always say YOLO, you only live once, it's not true. You live every day. You die once.
Well, that's true. Hi guys, this is Marsha and my co-host is Andre, and today we have Mr. Michael Facey, Jamaican based in Florida, who is actually a software engineer. Welcome, welcome.
How you doing? Thanks for having me.
I'm good.
Welcome.
Dre, how are you?
Doing good enough. Feeling good. Definitely blessed.
So, can you tell us a little bit about yourself today? Like, what do you do, etc.?
So I'm a software engineer. Currently, I'm a manager at a consulting firm. I specialize in software engineering, specifically nowadays with product lifecycle management software. So it's pretty much the best example I can give is say you're cooking, right? You have a recipe, you have a list of tools, you have instructions, right? You know, so it's that same concept you can use to build any product.
Okay.
I mean, so you have, for example, if you want to build a car, you know, you have a list of parts, right? You have instructions on how to put them together. You have the tools a list of tools that you need to put those things, to use. And then you have people to do it, right? So what I do is implement software that automates that entire process from ideation all the way down to when they want to actually manufacture the product itself. So I go in and help these companies automate that entire process. So for example, the engineer would design the product, sketch it out or whatever it is, and they use what they call a 3D CAD tool, a computer aided drawing tool to do a 3D mock-up of it, right? So, and then what they would do is then from their desktop, they can upload that into the cloud. And then that triggers a process. You know, once that data is inside there, that triggers a process, a workflow where the managers or whoever it is that's in charge of that product can then review the design, red pen it, red line it, things like that. Then if there's something that needs to be say an error is there, there's something that needs to be changed, they can route it back to the designer and he can make the change and then he can upload it again. And that then triggers the next process. Once that's approved, then another piece of what I do is also system integration. So I pretty much at the end of the day, I let two computers talk to each other. Right. You know, so once you're now done and they're ready now, there's an entire other system that handles, they usually call it an ERP, enterprise resource planning tool, where that's where they then forecast, they check their inventory, fulfill back orders, decide whether it's this component is manufactured in-house or they have to contact the vendor, you know what I mean, or someone else that makes that part, and how much of that they would have to order to, a whole bunch of math and thinking.
I can imagine.
On that side of the world.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So, but all I do is I just make sure that the proper data gets down to them, to their system,
make sure it works
at the right time, so that they can then kick off whatever other things that they need to do.
AKA, you're bright, you use computers, you build it, you do maths. So that is basically what you were just telling us. Yeah. So that is very, very interesting. So
definitely.
what was it like growing up? And I was privy to that. You and Andre are like longtime friends. So
oh man, yeah,
tell
that's
us like what it was like growing up and what it was like growing up with Mr. Andre.
well, I mean, we went to Springfield Gardens High School. That's way back, throwback, you know, since the 90s, you know, I noticed that. You know, so yeah, that's is my partner in crime up in back in school. We were always everywhere together. Yeah, I mean, you know, we had a lot of fun. Then figured out, you know, we parted ways, I think, well, college time, right?
Yeah,
and then around college time, because you went to upstate in Buffalo, and then I went out to New Paltz, SUNY New Paltz. But that's where I did my got my bachelor's in computer engineering out there.
Okay, so actually, so like growing up, like, did you always want to get into the field that you're currently in, or where did that revelation come from?
Dude, you know, to be honest, where I am, I could never fathom. I didn't know none of this existed. Remember, like all of this stuff came in with our generation when, like back in like what 96, the internet came in somebody's house. You know, I mean, like real talk.
Dial up.
Oh yeah, you remember, right? Yo, get off the phone. You kicked me off the internet. Yeah, man. Yeah.
I can't relate. I can't relate.
No. Oh,
okay, young buck. Sorry.
What? What? Oh, don't get me this.
Just kidding. But I can't really relate. But I can relate.
But yeah, no. I to be honest, I wanted to do CGI, computer generated imagery, because you know, growing up, I was always an artist. I drew a lot. I wasn't a painter or anything like that. I was mediocre in a sense. I was great in my eyes, put it that way, as an artist. And then, you know, that art, you know, kind of manifested itself along with the computer age in the 90s, that's when, you know, between 90s, early 2000s, that's when it really took off. And I kind of migrated with that and then got into whole Photoshop and learning how to digitize my art. And
I still can't use Photoshop to this day.
Yeah, you know, I mean, building, when I was in college, I used to build websites and do graphic design, building billboards. I mean, like designing billboards and like posters, party flyers, all that stuff. That was my side hustle for college. That's how I made extra money. You know, and it really helped me to hone my craft. And at that time, you know, things weren't what it was now, right? You know, so back then you had to understand what it was. Nowadays you have like little applications that can make life easy. Drag, drop, publish. Life is no, it wasn't that easy back then. You had to know what you're doing a little bit, you know. So you know, that kind of migrated. And then the college that I went to, you know, it was a state school, which what I wanted. And they gave me the best package, and they had the engineering program. I initially, and the computer engineering program was brand new at the time. So, you know, they had an electrical engineering department, but the computer engineering piece was brand new, as it was an industry that's coming in, you know, coming up. It was up and coming at the time. So it was tough. It was very hard. No joke. it failed anything. I did 5 years to get that degree, man. That kicked my butt.
But at the end of the day, I'm saying, even though it took you 5 years, I'm sure that 5 years definitely paid off in the long run.
Oh, of course. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to be able to my entire career be in the field leveraging my degree.
Nice.
So
you know that, like, there is this, I wouldn't say it's myth, but you know, they always downplay people that go to universities. They always try to be like, your degree won't help you, whatnot. You see, that just basically debunks some of those beliefs that people have, because
definitely
you have used your degree to on your journey, and it has made you know, successful and propelled you in upward mobility, basically. So I commend you for that, because you know, a lot of persons, especially in these day and age, it's so easy to make money. So people are like, why are you wasting the time going to university? It's not going to work out. But you see, that is something that I just wanted to point out.
I would encourage every youth out there to at least do minimum of 2 years of college.
True.
Exactly.
I would encourage any of them. Why? Because it's it's a different, it teaches, see, they think, there's one thing I've learned in this day and age of, I'm 39 this year. And
All foot.
I can say that, I've had a great journey.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've learned is that you have to, college taught me a different way of thinking.
True.
It restructured my brain. And at that very age, around that 17, 18, 19 years, that's your transition into adulthood. And those experiences build who you become later on.
Exactly. And a lot of person don't realize that.
So I opted to at least actually it wasn't a choice. I had to go to college. My dad pushed
Your dad was like, it's the same. My dad, same.
Yeah, it wasn't a choice, but I'm glad that he pushed me for it, because out of just the education, the experience, I was on my own for the first time in my life.
Teaching independence.
I was responsible for my time, my entire schedule. There's no one to wake me up if I oversleep. There's no
over your back, yeah.
Yeah, there's no one to, there's mommy's not around the corner to cook me breakfast or dinner, nothing like that. Or what I mean? Like I had to fend for myself. And there was times when, you use up your entire meal card. Andre, you know about that before the semester's over, and then, you had to go to work, you have to eat.
True.
Or you have to go either beg friends and be like, yo, can I get a couple points off of yours? It was, but it taught me how to grow up. That's when I really learned how to cook myself. I'm not saying I'm the greatest chef in the world or anything like that.
White chicken.
I could, no, man, no, I told you I could throw it down a little bit. I could do my oxtail and the curry goat and things.
Always Jamaican, always Jamaican. Lick up the kitchen.
Yeah, I mean, I could, yeah, but college was where I honed those skills. Everything that everything that I learned through my teenage years, everything my parents told me, everything, my family, everything I've seen, because throughout my childhood, we came here, it was 13 of us. I came here when I was turning 6 that year. And I pretty much spent majority of my life here.
Yes, okay.
My aunts and uncles, my grandmother had 10 kids, and we made sure one of them was already here, and all of us, we all came together. So nice. When I grew up, I had all my aunts. They were all different ages. My uncles, all different ages, and I
had your village.
I see the experiences. I saw my uncle through his teenage years. He was the youngest is 6 years older than me.
Okay.
So you know what I mean? So I was there, and then everyone is 2 years after that. 2 years apart. So it's like, I got to see all of that and experience that upon experiencing things for myself. When, Andre, when we went out and we're hanging out with our friends back in high school or whatever.
Exactly.
Queens wasn't a soft place back then in the 90s. So I'm not gonna, we saw some stuff, we experienced things, we saw people, we knew people, but you take all those lessons, and now I'm on my own, and I have to now pick and figure it out.
What to do from what not to do, and at the same time, so like university life, it helps you to build a network, and that's very important. Yep. So
that network is really important, especially in adulthood, especially as you transition into adulthood. Those are the people that the saying is not what you know, is who you know. Is they
can give a recommendation for you.
They'll be in the workforce.
They can vouch for you. They can
vouch for you. Mm-hmm.
Give you insights that somebody else might not know on the outside. So it's very good network. Even doing my master's too, like I built a network with a lot of persons, but I realized when I was searching for jobs or job hunting that I wasn't using my resources. And they're like, use your LinkedIn, use this and that. And I always shy away from that. But everything pays off in the end. Yeah. So always network, and that is the thing. We are forced to always have unhealthy competition.
Yes.
In school, it's more like, man, forget 100, so we can do better than Andre. Instead of, let me get 100 and Andre gets 100, and we can work together.
We can push each other.
Exactly.
And And we always have these rivalries that we bring on into adulthood that if we were just working as a team, it would have been better for us in the future.
Yep, there's no I in team, I tell you.
Definitely. So Mike, so what was the transition like for you after university? Like you said, it took you 5 years to graduate, right? So what happened after you graduated?
I got lost.
You know,
You got lost?
I pretty much stayed for 1 year. I was like 5 states in 1 year, I think.
Wow.
Right? Yeah.
You couldn't keep a job or you just quit?
No, I didn't know what to do with myself.
Okay.
College was over and now I had
the real world.
You know, the thing is, so I have to admit, I wasn't the best student in the world.
Mm-hmm.
The person that's talking to you now, the knowledge I have now has been real world experience. It wasn't school book experience. You know, it's not school book knowledge. School book knowledge was just that foundation.
And
basics.
The rest of it was just real world. So, you know, I wanted college to be over. I was exhausted. And it was how should I put it? I'm trying to think, how should I put it? So I was living in Jersey at the time, you know, after college, you know, and that year, I don't know, I didn't know what to do. I wasn't the best student, so my GPA wasn't the best of the best. And I could tell you at that time, to get into the computer fields, period, whether it's computer science or whatever, they were just if you weren't like a 3.8, a 3.5, 3.6, they weren't touching you. Or if you didn't have an internship with a company for a while, they weren't touching you. Like, you had too much competition. You know, because it was brand new thing and everyone is fighting to be the cream of the crop. Yeah. I mean, because IBM was booming, Microsoft was booming. I mean, these companies off on this whole computer revolution. I you know, to be honest, I was asked the other day, you know, if I could choose a different time, what would I choose? Sorry for the sidebar. And I say no other time but now. This is the best time to be alive. Best time for me personally to be alive. But yeah, so back to what I was saying. So you know, yeah, man.
You could expound on that. Why you think it's the best time to be alive? Is it because we're in a technological age?
I just looking back at history itself, you know, just looking at the forward. I'm a forward progression kind of guy, and I appreciate what came before, you know, and it marvels me all the time to reflect back on, at one point we were living in caves, right? As a species, right? You're talking about, you know, and things people forget. And this is why I have such an appreciation for it, is because I lived that journey between the 90s and now to see that, oh my gosh.
Big difference.
But literally, I can control my entire life in the palm of my hand.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
I can transfer money. It doesn't matter.
Everything.
You know, everything from the palm of my hand. And this is not even that old. It's what, 20 years? The first one came out in what, 2000, what, 7, 8, something like that.
Oh, smartphones.
Smartphones, yeah.
Smartphone. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's in my life. And just to see where we're going, you know, it's just amazing to me. It's amazing to see the evolution of our species itself as humans, to take ourselves from sitting around campfire
primitive time.
Well, and
you know what I mean? To now,
you know, we can't really call them primitive because
the
things that they were doing
at their time, they were the advanced thing.
Yeah, because what they were doing then.
Yeah.
Some of their structures are still holding up unto this day. The pyramids, people don't even know how they're holding up. So can't really call them primitive. They were ahead of their time.
Yes.
So like I always say, like creativity is just something that's so unique and so precious, because without creativity, we'd be stuck in the 1800s.
It's true.
You know what I mean?
It's so like, you gotta, what you're saying, that you gotta give respect to the artist mindset.
Exactly.
That, you know, those folks that can take an idea and create, I'm in awe of those people. Why? Because it's not people think that it's not easy. It's not an easy thing, and not a lot of people can start with nothing and make something out of it.
Definitely.
Look at like and if you notice all the from my perspective, all the great people, whether what doesn't matter the field, those ones that make it up there, like the Einstein and the geniuses, whatever, they all had something with art, whether it's a music or a paint,
that's true,
something, right? Hence, for me, I strongly believe that. So, with my son, I had him, I was so happy that he was able to at 4 years old sit down for 30 minutes, but he's been playing piano since then.
Nice. And I think
when I say it comes to math, it's in his brain wired differently because music, learning how to read the music. I'm talking about read the music and play, and it restructures their brain. Sorry to cut you off.
Nice.
No. I was going to point out that I always state that persons who are good with instruments and those things are very good at math and thinking, and that helps you in all different areas of your life. And sometimes I believe, like, man, if I was good at math, man, if I was good at music, if I could read those things and understand those things from a long time, maybe my perspectives would have been different. But
I'm saying too old now, though, Marsha. So.
I'm not too old. I'm still young and thriving. Get away.
Oh, Dre got jokes.
He's just trying to look company in his oldness.
Damn, Dre, I got more gray hairs than you, man.
No, cause mine are not a beard, you know what I mean?
Mine scratch out and something jump out there.
Oh, man.
But like, it's very interesting to hear you talk about what you're doing with so much passion, and you spoke about how all of these apps make things so easy. So in a way, like, the competition is not really, I'm not going to say it's not really there, but it's so easier at your fingertips to get into fields without really having to.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
No. I'm not saying somebody's just going to come and take over your spot. But just like you have a lot of people who they can't do things from scratch. They just have to get different parts from
templates.
Yes, and they can make something. Well, back in the days, people would just have to make it from scratch. You get what I mean? Now everything is so available and so accessible, that people can be like, oh, I can code this, I can code that, I can do this. But if you think about what you were doing in like 25 years ago, everybody had to do it from scratch. So from then until now, as you said, everything is evolving. But in a way, everything is so accessible now. I'm thinking like, not necessarily that the competition isn't there, but some people are not as hardworking as them.
Well, I mean, I don't know if I fully understand your question, your statement or your question. But
it's not a question, it's a statement. Basically, I was just saying that you had to go through it. You were just stating that you had to compete if you never had a 3.8, 3.7, 3.5 GPA to get where you're going. You couldn't get into your field. But nowadays, a lot of persons are just using apps and using these things that are available to them to build a career and start.
I respect that, though. I have lots and lots of respect for all of those. I look at all of this stuff as tools. These are all just tools at the end of the day. You can, at the end of the day, this is a tool for me to make a phone call and do other things on it. I have a printer, computer, all of these are still tools. And I give props to anyone that can take a tool
use the tools
and turn it into something that they can make a livelihood off of it that they enjoy. So all those, the tools just got better. That's all it is. And now
that's true.
You have a new generation that now has to take these better tools and now they
make something better.
A new situation to make more and more better things, and that's how we advance.
Well, I like how you put it then, but I wasn't trying to discredit anybody. I was just saying everything is just so accessible. And back in the days, it was so cheap. It was so expensive to buy everything. Now everything you can get like a knockoff version from AliExpress. You can get a knockoff ring light. You can get a knockoff iPhone. You can get a knockoff everything. Just so easy and accessible to
Knockoffs,
everything.
let me tell you, knockoffs existed as long as products existed. As long as someone made something, someone made a fake of it.
Someone will make a fake one.
That's just history, you know. I mean, that's just how things are, you know. Especially if they realize that you can profit from it, and then they can make something replicated. It may not be as strong as yours or as good as yours,
or last longer.
But once it works a little bit,
somebody out there that's gonna buy it, and they can find some profit off of it. You know what I mean?
True.
That's just how it is, because not everybody has the same standards, right? You know, and that's where, you know, we have to remember that we're all individuals, we're all different, and
everybody's different.
No two person is the same ever. And the person you are today, tomorrow when you wake up, you're not the same person.
Exactly.
Or you're a different person.
Exactly.
And change it, you know. So and what I mean by saying that is that you've learned different lessons the day before.
True.
You've restructured your priorities depending on what happened. You are, you know, you're marching in a different beat. You're thinking differently now. You're feeling, I mean, you're not the same person. You're different. You change everything. You know, somebody said the other day, you know, actually I saw this little quote. I really like it, but it always says that, you know, when they always say YOLO, you only live once, it's not true. You live every day. You die once.
Well, that's true.
True.
Yeah, so my GPA was, you know, wasn't the strongest. And at the time, you know, that period, 2016, I mean, 2006 not 2006, it was like, no, it was like.
So long, I can't remember.
I know, right? I know the memory. I tell you, so, you know, I was living in Georgia at the time. I was staying with my. And this was within the year that, you know, I had to figure things out, because I was like, okay, the GPA is not the strongest in the world. I don't have any internships. Competition hard, you know? And so what you know, I was in Jersey at the time. I was the assistant manager at a Radio Shack at the time, you know, living in Jersey, crashing with my mom, trying to figure out life. Then from, you know, that year, you know, I bounced around between New York, Jersey, Florida, Georgia, and then back, and then finally Connecticut. Yeah, it was me and my Toyota Tercel, my 1990 Toyota Tercel. I love that car. that thing, yo, let me tell you that. Sorry, quick sidebar. That car it's like 2004, 2005, you know. My mom got that car for me. It was my first ever car. That thing burned oil like nobody business. 1990 Toyota Tercel. Let me show you how bad it was. Where the sealant, where the oil leak was under, like it was deep in there, where the cost to repair cost more than the car. So I was like, you know, you broke post college, you know, college. You don't got no money. You don't got, you know, I'm like trying to defer my student loans from playing them. You know, and then the car was so bad. The car was awesome, but the issue was so bad that you know, I had to go to, like, you know, Costco and get like a super box of oil and always have it in the trunk.
Always have a backup.
No. So because it burned oil, right? It burned oil bad. So then I had to, before I drove it anywhere, I had to calculate my distance, and then I
make sure you have enough oil.
Shame your road.
Yo, after the business, man. Yo, there's no shame in my game, man.
But you ever know, like it's just ironic. So you have to go through that to get to where you are now. And looking back now, I'm saying you can't just laugh at that. You can't laugh and say, well.
But then they probably did well stress out.
It's the best.
That time, that shit wasn't funny. Yo, let me tell you how I got to Georgia. I went from Jersey to Georgia, right? I packed up everything I owned. Everything that I owned, possessed, which was pretty much whatever I brought home from college. Trashed in my mom's house. So I packed up my car. I said, I'm out. Need to change the scenery. And I just hit the road, started driving. And then
no plans, no destiny. Wow.
no destination, nothing. And then
college.
I just said I'm heading south. So all of a sudden the idea, the light bulb go off, and it was like, oh, my aunt lives in Georgia. This is my favorite auntie. One of my favorite. She I love all my aunts, but this one is from my mother's side. She's my favorite from my mother's side. I called her up and was like, oh, auntie, guess what you doing? And she was like, the general stuff. And then I was like, you have room? She's like, what do you mean I have room? I was like, I'm driving. I don't know where I'm going. I figured I'll come visit. She said, come on, baby. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm somewhere fixed stay now.
He's like, you're always welcome. The door is open. So I headed to Georgia, stayed down there for a while. And then I think that was a
wake-up call.
No, it wasn't a wake-up call. It was a great experience. I loved it. Yeah. I was I was in Austell, Georgia, right outside of right outside of Atlanta, in the outskirts.
Okay.
Close to the Six Flags. I was over there. If anybody that's going to be listening know where that is, but Austell, the neighborhood wasn't exciting. It was just the time spent. Atlanta's an amazing city. There was always something going on there. Every night, every single night, from Monday straight through Sunday, there was something going on. You could find something to do. You can go hang out or whatever the case is. So, I kept myself busy with that, but then I was still trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I wasn't even sure if I could possibly use my degree, to be honest. I didn't know if I could get into the field. I was looking at all the, sitting there at monster.com and all the job sites, and I was just looking at stuff, and I was like, damn, I don't know. But I was applying anyway and getting no hits, no bites at all. So ended up, delivering for Papa John's.
Pizza?
Papa John's pizza.
No, man, the journey. Yeah.
I had to pay my student loans. Was knocking on my door, talking about, hey, you want to defer again, or man, if you want to defer again, you got to go get your master's. I'm like, yeah, school and me is not gonna mix right now. So I was like, I need to start working. Yeah. So I did that, and I had to pay down my credit card. Listen, I'll rack up credit cards in college. I had my one card that I had a little balance on, at the time for a college, a postgraduate with no job. That's a lot of money. It had like $2,000 on it. I was like, struggling to pay that off. But what I did was I made a plan. Said, okay, I'm going to use my degree. I didn't spend 5 years in college for nothing.
For nothing.
Stressed out and all.
I'm going to figure out how to get into the field. So what I did was I started going on to the job recruitment sites and going to the different companies and started reading the job description of what the skills that they were asking for, and then went to the bookstore, bought the books, and taught myself.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense.
I may not have been an expert at it, but at least on my resume, I can say I'm familiar with it. I know how to use the tool.
I know the basics. Exactly.
I know
that's
enough.
That's a good strategy too.
Definitely.
So that's what I did, and that strategy landed me in Connecticut with my first career job. It was at a company called Ingenuity PLM, where they made same product lifecycle management software, but this time I was a part of the team. I was part of the software test team. So software test engineers. So listen, it sounds fancy. At the end of the day, I'm not going to degrade anybody's job because some people
you weren't getting any money.
For me, no, it's not that it wasn't that I wasn't getting any money. It was that it wasn't. I plateaued with that.
It wasn't ideal.
I felt that okay. I'm hungry, and
you felt saturated and like there is no.
Yes, I needed more. So what I decided to do was, it was the company that I worked for, Ingenuity PLM. At the time when I joined, I was the 9th person. It was a really small company, really small startup. They eventually got acquired by one of the big boys, but it was a really small startup, and it was great for me because it allowed me to work close with folks and learn from them. It's like, learn from them, and then because we were all close, opportunities were easily presented to
along the way.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Rather, it's different in a big company where you got
competition is
different, but when you're in that's kind of small company setting, is 9 people, you have to work closely together on a regular basis, and it's easy for someone to say, Mike,
look at this.
I want you to learn
out.
take this and go over there, because they need to, they have other things to do as well, so I remember my father told me this before when I told him I got the job. Pardon me.
No worries.
My father told me, don't worry about the money. The money will come.
It's experience.
The money will come. He said, be a sponge. Soak all that up.
Everything up, exactly.
Experience. And that's what I did. So when I went in there, I said no to nothing. You want me to? You're
a sponge. You just was soaking up everything.
Exactly. And then I also found opportunities for myself. Like, I hear, one of my manager at the time, he wanted to hand off this Java automated testing tool, right? That he started building, but he just hadn't had the time to
do it himself.
And I was like, ding, ding, ding.
Opportunity.
Exactly.
And that's how I learned how to code. That's how I learned how to code. So I'm proficient in Java, and a couple other languages too, like Python, C#, C++. You name it. I can. It's the foundation is all the same. The syntax is different, so it's like saying Spanish to Portuguese or whatever it is. But when you strip away all the rules and norms from that culture, the language foundational language is still.
So the basis is the same, but the other parts are different.
Depends on the region and the use and things like that, and the dialect, so for me it's easy for that. But nowadays I don't get to code anymore. Sad face. I actually had to steal some code from one of my developers the other day because I just wanted to feel it again.
Is that legal? Is that legal? Can you say that here?
I didn't know, but I'm talking about I was supposed to give it to him to do. I was supposed to assign it to him.
And you took it on yourself.
I'm gonna do it myself.
Nothing wrong with that.
I was like, so then it felt good because when I was done, I was like, man, I haven't written some code in a while, man. But still, that I'm a nerd, but guys, I'm a geek all day.
No, but hearing even mention the whole fact of you starting and doing something that you felt wasn't ideal for you, but guess what? I'm saying you actually took that experience and you, like you said, you soaked up everything and you learned from it and basically used it as a stepping stone.
True. So you had your foot in the door. You had your foot in the door, and you were intending not to get out. And even currently in my situation, like what I just started doing isn't the job that I want, but it's the foot in the door that I was yearning for, and I have it now. And in this time, I just want to soak up everything, learn as much as I can, so that I can move on to that big job. I was speaking to one of my coworkers today about the same thing, like what we really want out of what we're doing. So sometimes, as youngsters,
creep before you can walk.
Yes, as youngsters, we believe that, if we don't get the big job, we're not doing it.
Listen, I tell because I have folks that I'm responsible for the company I work for.
You're a manager.
Yeah. But I tell them all the time, when it comes to their careers and whatever the case is, you gotta, how should I put it?
Take baby steps.
You can't jump the entire stairs at once.
Yeah.
You will hurt yourself.
True.
Exactly.
You will hurt yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, some people lucky enough, whatever, right? But not everybody can jump
Not
in.
for everybody.
Because everybody's season is different as well.
That's why, that's why I'm saying, like, push on dog now to see him luck, right?
True.
All right. All right. So what worked for me doesn't mean it's gonna work for you.
It doesn't work for you. Exactly.
You know what I mean? And you just got to be creative and figure out creative ways to use the tools that are around you to make something for yourself.
True.
Exactly.
And no one can stop you but you.
Yeah.
Everything else is just obstacles that you have to get over. But the only person that can stop you is you.
Everybody don't have the same formula as you just mentioned. And that is the thing. Like, we see these people, they blow up on social media. Oh, I'm going to get it the same way. You don't know how much hard work sometimes they put in. Even to be a YouTuber, even to be an influencer on Instagram is the same. They have to put in a lot of work. Sometimes
a lot of time is spent with that stuff.
You just sometimes you think that you're stuck sometimes too. All you need to do is just start, take a baby step, and move up. And that's what a lot of that is what we need to instill in our kids, in the youths, etc. Because as I was mentioning before, sometimes we really want the big break. I am not working in this job. I know persons move to Canada on permanent residency status, and because they don't get the job immediately,
they give up.
They give up. They go back to their countries. Sometimes, like as you say, obstacles come in your way.
Obstacles will come.
Yeah,
they will come.
Life itself is an obstacle.
Exactly.
Life isn't perfect. It has hills and valleys.
Real quick. People don't realize, people forget this enough. The day you were born, for you to take that first breath, that's the biggest obstacle that your life went through. You understand?
At that moment.
And it keeps on going from there.
Obstacle. That journey that your mom took you to the 9 months, that's a big obstacle because she can trip and fall and you would have.
True, and being fragile. And every year you get older too, being alive.
So the journey continues.
The journey of life itself will always have obstacles because that's how we learn.
Exactly.
That's you never learn in comfort.
True.
You don't truly learn in comfort. Times of
uncomfortable situations.
Because you're relying on, general knowledge and things because you're familiar with it, so you know how the workings go. It's when your back is against the wall and you're uncomfortable, and now you're tested to see what you know. You have to now think and put, come up
find a way to make
figure it out and find a way out.
True.
That's how you learn because
that's a gem right there. That's a gem right there.
For sure.
Yo, you got to, so at the end of the day, you are your obstacle. You got to push and you got to be uncomfortable. You have to be uncomfortable. That's all.
That's the only way. You see this?
No, man, the mind powerful.
You see, I've learned that your mind very can either be your friend or your enemy, depending on what you put inside that. Sometimes you're like, can't get this job, me can't get this house, me can't get this, me can't get that. Your mind will be set on the can't get.
All right, so here's the thing. So like people always have ideas, right? Like we'll always have ideas and we might want to do something, but guess what? If we never get started, we'll never know what will happen.
That start button. Press it. That's what I posted on our page yesterday. Click the start button.
The first step. All you gotta do is take one step, and then from that one step, you push yourself to the next step, and then from there,
endless possibilities.
I don't know why you don't realize I run.
Exactly.
You're sprinting now. You know what I mean?
Patwa just made that sound incredible. I run. Yeah, man. Like throughout this interview, you have just been spitting jewels and gems and this is why we do the program. It's not an easy journey for us because we've been in the business for a bit now and we haven't reached our that big level as some people have.
It's a journey. It's a journey, man.
The journey continues for us and we will continue to go up and up and up. And I try not to let it deter me from not getting a lot of followers and a lot of views and whatnot. I try not to think about that too much.
The thing is, with the journey, the journey allows you to appreciate it that much more when it comes.
Where you come from, man? Beer juice, that drop, man.
That's what it is. It's that relief. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Oh my gosh, it is done. I'm good. I did it.
Put in the work. Yeah, man,
I put in the work, and the output was exactly what I wanted.
True.
Took me some time. Took me some time. But it came out exactly how I wanted.
Exactly.
Where I can say, I can hang this one up.
You know, Sam, I'm not going to side chat, but me there, me I listen to you, and you know who you sound like?
Who?
Major Hype. You sound just like him. I'm here and I'm like, maybe it's a New York accent, but you sound just like him. You sound just like him. Like, I'm here, I'm like, no, sir, why sound so? I have him little laugh.
Marsha, you moving tortoise.
But yeah, man, thank you for sharing everything.
Definitely appreciate the interview, Mike, for sure.
Oh, dude, I got plenty more for you, man. Dude, I've traveled the world, the whole nine. So if you want to know how I got to there, I can tell you. I even know the future too. I know exactly what will happen in the future. I'm telling. Listen, you can mark the date right to know today that I told you. That,
May 25th.
No, yeah, May
2021.
2021. I told you that according to my plan, because I mapped this entire thing out. 11 more years of corporate America. I hang my hat up, and then I am retiring at 50. And when I say retire, I mean retire as I control my time.
Nice.
Another jewel there.
I'm still having my businesses. So my right to know my entire system is set up to build little engines that work for themselves. I don't have to invest like a full-time job.
And energy and working until you know what I'm saying? Like this and walking like this and
I set up things, so one of, and a couple example of that is, I have property. I have 2 rental properties, and I make sure that, it's rented. It's up to par to the way I can rent it. Where
exactly.
It's covered, meaning the mortgage, whatever, other bills, whatever, it's all covered. Set it and forget it for a year. I don't have to think about it. I mean, that's the stuff I kind of set up. And then from there, I have my investments that I do. Just set it and forget it. Let your money work for you.
True.
Exactly.
Right, because to do it. You know what I'm saying? So, and the benefits, people don't realize, I will always push people, even though the place I'm at, I rent personally right to know, but there's reasons behind that I won't share. But, but I have my investment properties and the benefits just from tax season alone. Tax season is my favorite season. Favorite time of the year, because me and Uncle Sam said, "Oh, we're good. All right, Bridget.
Parry. Where you say?
I'll see you and say, Paul, you go on. See you next year." You know what I'm saying?
All right, so Mike, so you've dropped a couple of jewels on us so far, right? But what's 2 other jewels you can actually impart on our viewers, right? To kind of help persons to stay focused and to achieve that goal. And like you said, to allow your money to work for you as opposed to you constantly working for that money.
I would always say the biggest thing is set goals. Set goals and then take baby steps to complete. Okay. You understand? Every day. So every month I do a reset. I review I review my budget. I know how much money is coming out. I know exactly how much money is coming in. I set aside my fund, whatever it is, for my leisure and whatever it is, because I know how much, I set a limit to myself to say every month I won't spend X
more than this. Okay.
More than this. I was like, and if I go over, don't get me wrong, once in a while, you spoil yourself, depending on.
Once in a while, you broth too much.
Once in a while, you spoil yourself. But overall, you look at it and say, well, if I hit that limit, then I guess I'm going to sit on my ass on the couch and no going out then.
Build back up, exactly.
And discipline yourself to sit down and say, I hit my limit.
Go out anyways, just kidding.
Hello, I'm too old for that.
Yeah, I mean, but I would say, be strong with yourself. And then one of the biggest things I would say, I can pass is that, trust yourself.
Bet on yourself.
Bet on you. You are for those that are, that find it hard, especially, with the whole pandemic that happened, and well, we're still in it, but since COVID season hit, a lot of people have, their lives got shaken up terribly. And, you wanna, the one common thing that I see and across, whether it's, from those that got hit hard versus, those that maybe it didn't even tickle them.
Yeah, because some people succeeded a lot during COVID.
But at the end of the day, you have to, life is about survival. You have to adapt. You have to adapt. It doesn't matter what happens in your industry, because people forget that as we advance with technology, the more technology the whole point of technology is to make your life easier. It's a tool to help you to do something, right? Some people can choose to use it. Some people can choose not to use it, right? But it's always going to be there. We went from, discovering fire and leveraging and controlling fire, right? We learned how to control fire so that we don't burn ourselves and burn down the village, but you can just make a small little thing.
Exactly.
Use that, from that control of fire, we learn to cook. From that cooked protein, enlarge the brain. Taught us to now how to hunt. We have to then figure out tools on how to take down the mammoth.
About the cycle, man.
I'm just saying, you know what I mean? But just think about it. You know what I mean? It's just that's what it is. You evolve. You get better. People don't get stuck in, they're gonna take my job and this, and my industry is going away and I don't know anything else, whatever it is. The only obstacle is stopping yourself is you.
Yeah, man. Love that.
Dust yourself off. Tomorrow is a day. Tomorrow is
Elliot, dust yourself off and try again.
It's true. I mean, what else can you do? Life is about living.
And then you can't give up.
And the fact that you wake up the next day, the fact that you are able to open your eyes, because there's 7.7 billion people upon this planet.
Yes.
And I promise you, every single day, a lot of them people don't get to open their eyes.
True.
So the fact that you get to open your eyes, appreciate it, and take that as that new day to live your dreams, enjoy this earth. This is, I love everything about just being alive, dude. Like that's just my thing.
You're so positive. I really appreciate that about you.
You have to be. I'm telling you, people that always, one thing we learn in life, you can't please everybody.
True.
You can't please everybody. So there's nothing. I could be Mother Teresa. I could be Gandhi.
Somebody still have to fight forward with you.
Jesus.
It doesn't matter how good I am. There's always going to be somebody out there that's not going to like what you do, or how you say it, or how you think, or whatever it is.
That's true.
Why should I invest my energy into worrying about those people? Because
when you can use it to build yourself.
I use it to build myself, because at the end of the day, they have no real direct impact on what I do. Unless, if they want to be an obstacle, then I find a way to just step right over it.
The naysayers will be the naysayers, and the naysayers now ever go anywhere. So
it's your life. It's your life.
Live it.
For sure.
Live it. Enjoy.
Mike, I appreciate you coming on here and sharing all these important pointers, messages, jewels, information, sharing about your journey, your struggles. I'm sure you are going to inspire a lot of persons. You inspired me. Hearing you sharing your story was wonderful to listen to. Thank you so much for coming. Big up yourself. I love the little moments when your patwa chip in, because some people got foreign when they're 20 and can't speak patwa. So big up yourself all the time. Thank you so much. And have a good one. Have a good one.
Yeah, much respect, bro. Much respect. All right, cool.
Bless up. Later.
All right. Yeah, bless.